Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on SuperSport. For today's preview, as France host Ireland, what many are billing potentially the game of the tournament already, after both them put in very impressive performances last week to beat Italy and Wales respectively. So Ireland versus France, it is at Stade de France, and a couple of changes to both sides. I think it should be a very interesting game because both teams, France very much coming into this tournament as sort of favourites, and Ireland always sort of that side that you never quite know what to expect, but you know that they've got the capacity, they've got the talent, they've got the players to also contend for the tournament. It's just about whether they can sort of put on the performance on the day. And what we saw last week against Wales is very much the fact that they had the capacity to be able to turn it on. France sort of struggled for that opening 40 minutes. I wouldn't say struggle necessarily, but couldn't quite put Italy away. But as the game went on, you know, their class and pedigree started to show through, and it should be another fantastic weekend of rugby ahead. Before we look at the two teams, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We're hoping to be live for all the Six Nations games this weekend. It all depends on presents and stuff like that, but we will make sure that we cover it as much as we can. And obviously a lot of URC action as well, so plenty of rugby to keep you entertained over the next few days. Now, looking at the teams, we'll start with the home side, which is France, which will be captained by Antoine Dupont. There are two changes in the side. First of all, in the centres, we've got Yoram Moefana, who comes in for Jonathan Dante in the centres there. And then we also see Francois Gross, who's a start, and Dylan Cretton drops down to the bench. And then Thibaut Flament comes in, and France are going with a 6-2 split, which I think in itself is quite interesting. Funny how sort of South Africa, almost how unpopular South Africa became with the 6-2 split. Now we're starting to see other sides start to do it. I haven't quite had the same reaction, but it's good to see that other sides are innovating, and very interesting to see that a side like France, which are characteristically always got some, lots of flair, lots of sort of backline players who love to sort of play quite openly and stuff like that, going with a 6-2 split and sort of going very forward, dominated. But if we look at the side, it's a very, very good side. Not too many changes from last week apart from that. If we're looking at the front row, Cyril Bailly is joined by Julian Marchand and Winnie Antonio. And in the second row, we've got Cameron Waukee and Paul Willemse, the South African-born lock. He brings a lot of packs, a big punch. He's a giant of a man. And then the back row, Francois Cross, Anthony Gelange, and Gregory Aldrich, who is such a fun player to watch. Very physical, very athletic, loves to carry the ball, and one of the best number 8s in the world. And then you've got the dream team combination of Antoine Dupont and Romain Ntamack. Dupont and Ntamack rated in amongst some of the best players in the world. In that Rugby Pass article that ranked the best players, they were very much both the top 5 actually. Dupont being named the best player in the world at the moment. So yeah, it's interesting and those two are just going to sort of only grow in leaps and bounds. But the rest of the backline, we've got Gabin Valero, who was tremendous last weekend, scoring tries for fun. Moefana is next to Gael Fiku, who is a tremendous outside centre, such an intelligent player as well. Got a really good offload game. He reads the game like a book, and he's a very exciting player, and a very fun player to watch. Then you've got Damien Penaud, who's a very good finisher, and Melvin Jaminet at full-back. Off the bench for the French, you've got Pietro Mervaco, Jean-Baptiste Gros, and Demba Bamba as the reserve front row. Then you've got Romain Tuafenau, Thibaut Flament, Francois Cross as the rest of the forwards. And then your only two backline players on the bench for the French are Maxime Lucier and Thomas Ramos. For the Irish, a big blow at fly half and no captain and Johnny Sexton this weekend. A hamstring injury has ruled him out. And a lot of players, a lot of fans getting quite frustrated because some fans sort of saying, "Why are you picking Johnny Sexton? We know he's so injury prone." But it's always a tricky one. We're talking about a former World Player of the Year. We're talking about a player who, when he plays, is untouchable. When he plays well, he can win a game almost by himself. He's such a good player when he plays, but he is always so injury prone. And now the question is, we're 18 months away from the World Cup. Do you continue going with them? Do you now have to start blowing the next generation? So Joey Carberry's going to get an opportunity this weekend. Jack Carty's on the bench. And the other change sees, so obviously now James Ryan will take on the captain's armband, and there's a couple of changes on the bench. If we're looking at the front, at the Irish side, a lot of experience across the entire side. If you're looking at that front row, take away Mac Hansen, who was on debut last weekend, and players like Caelan Doris, Marona Kelleher, maybe Jamison Gibson Park, who don't have that many international caps. Apart from that, it's a very experienced side. So if we're looking at the front row of Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelleher, and Tarek Furlong, Furlong and Andrew Porter have over 90 international caps between them. In the second row, James Ryan captains the side. He's next to Tyke Byrne. Tremendous to have a player like Tyke Byrne who can play on the flank, play at lock, and he's pretty amazing wherever he is. And then a very on-form loose trio, Caelan Doris, Josh van der Fleer, and Jack Conan. Jack Conan missed the consistency. Josh van der Fleer has been an electric form for Leinster. Jamison Gibson Park is partnering Joey Carberry, who's earning his 29th international cap. Mac Hansen starts for the second week in a row. It's the same center combination of Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose, Andrew Conway at 14, and Hugh Keenan at 15. But off the bench, a couple of changes and in terms of the backline replacement. So up front, Dan Sheehan, Cian Healy, and Finley Beelum. Cian Healy with well over 100 international caps. What a pleasure it is to have him on the bench. And then Ian Henderson, who comes back into the side, British and Irish Lions player, 65 caps for Ireland. You've got Peter O'Mahony, 80 caps for Ireland, and Conor Murray, 93 caps. So there's a tremendous amount. we're looking at sort of 200-300 caps coming off the bench for the men from Ireland to try and seal off this game. Jack Carty's been playing some very good rugby for Connacht. In fact, a lot of people sort of saying that he probably should have actually started ahead of Carberry, who hasn't had that much game time, especially in a starting position in the last few months. And then Robbie Henshaw is back on the bench and will bring a wealth of experience to that centre as well. It's two very good sides. It's a game that can go either way. I think if France at home are a tough team to beat. But this Irish side have shown that they can beat anybody. They beat New Zealand last year. They brushed aside Wales. So I think that this Ireland side, if they were to go and beat France, I think, you put them as favourites. They'll be very much in the front runners. They'll be looking and sitting there saying, we back ourselves against England, we'll back ourselves against Scotland, we know we're going to beat Italy. And you don't necessarily have to win all, it doesn't have to necessarily be a Six Nations Grand Slam. 4 wins often does the trick. So, I think you can go both ways. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen. I'll chat to you soon.